Hi, and welcome to this edition of the Insurance Experts. It's my pleasure to have Kent Wallbruch on the line. Kent's a long-term care insurance specialist, and he's going to share with us some personal information, some information about his clients. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Mark. It's a pleasure to have the opportunity.
So, not everybody takes the path down the long-term care insurance line of business. What attracted you to that space?
What really attracted me to that space is I started off more of a generalist in the insurance industry, but I really started to draw upon an experience that I had, or actually my family had, a little over 40 years ago when I was about a 10-year-old kid, where my great uncle suffered a major stroke. And it was my father's uncle. My parents brought both him and my great aunt up from Florida to live with us in Illinois. And they lived with us for about 2.5 years. And although he recovered a fair amount, it was our first experience with the care experience in my life, certainly, and certainly with us personally as a family. And it was, unfortunately, although there were some good times, it was actually still a very stressful situation for the 2.5 years or so that they lived with us. It got to the point where, quite frankly, we couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. They ended up moving back to Florida, moved into a nursing home, passed away a few years later. But unfortunately, the day they left our home was the last day I ever saw them. And as I met with more and more clients, there was a common theme. The families were experiencing stress, and it was usually a very negative situation. And I realized I wanted to help people avoid similar situations.
I see. And so, yeah, you as a 10-year-old boy there, and now you going into your career and kind of hearkening back to that experience. Is that what motivated you to kind of be in the long-term care insurance space, or do you have a different background in the financial services arena?
Well, actually, my background started off in the banking industry, but it migrated to this industry, and that was probably the driving experience as far as what really motivated me to specialize in the long-term care insurance space.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about a client you recently worked with, and obviously you're able to help a lot of people out there. What was this client's particular situation? What made it memorable to share with us today?
What made this one memorable, it was a husband and wife that I met with. And the wife actually had a business where she and the people who worked for her provided care to people of all things. And about a month or so before I met with them, she was feeling very tired. She saw her doctor, unfortunately, at that point. She was diagnosed with the early stages of multiple sclerosis. And when I met with them, they realized, probably based upon that doctor's diagnosis, like, oh my goodness, I probably should do something for us to prepare ourselves for a potential care need personally. But unfortunately, by the time I met with her, the diagnosis was in her medical records. Unfortunately, I couldn't do anything for her as far as the long-term care insurance solution. On the bright side, I was able to help her husband. So that was the one positive thing that came out of it.
Right. And we always try to encourage people to plan early because you just have the most options available to you. Like you said, if she had planned even a few months earlier, she would have the pick of whatever, solution she wanted. And now she has much more limited options. So it doesn't matter based on your age, but planning early before something health-wise happens to you is really the key. What about the husband? Were you able to do anything for him?
I was able to help put in place a plan with long-term care insurance to help if he needs care or has an extended care experience, where the long-term care insurance would fund that plan and allow him to help minimize the impact upon certainly his wife and also their kids.
Awesome. And you're being in the industry, sometimes you don't even realize that you're the one that should be looking at some of these things. I talk to a lot of advisors or agents that don't even own some of the solutions for themselves, and then they realize how important it is through a personal experience like this. So exactly. It's great that you're sharing this. And one other a tip I'll give is if she does own her own business, you are oftentimes able to use your business to pay for the premium and take a tax deduction. And that applies to both the business owner and their spouse. So there may be situations, I don't know if that's the case in this particular situation, but where you can deduct the premiums and also save extra money that way. So really appreciate you joining us today on the show, Kent. We wish you all the best, and we hope to kind of work with you more closely as part of the Buddy INS network of long-term care experts to help more families out there.
Very good. Thanks so much, Mark. I appreciate this time to talk.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.